Hello, everyone. So yeah, this is as you can see from the title, this is a Q&A live stream. I'm just doing this because I don't know if you noticed, but I just passed 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, this seemed like a good way to celebrate. Um, so yeah, um, I'm just going to let me see. I'll just post the link again on Twitter. So I see we don't have anyone yet. Obviously, with the other ones, I had places to promote them, like fan communities, but I don't really have that with this, obviously. But I do have plenty of questions, thankfully. I got some of you guys to send them to me in advance. I've screenshotted them all and put them in a Q&A. I don't think I've missed anyone, but if I have, I'm very sorry, but I'm pretty sure I haven't missed anyone out. So let me see. I'm live streaming on Twitter as well for the first time. So I'll just promote that on Twitter again. Okay, so I'll start with the with my little slideshow. I stopped doing slideshows for Psychoville because of course I was just like, well, I can just use the video that, and of course that's just an extra thing that takes up time. Of course, I did do a stream countdown for this one because I forgot to do one this time, but yeah, I usually make little stream countdowns. I'm very proud of those little stream countdowns. I remember making the one for Psychoville, being really proud of it. Because yeah, I think it's good. That's why I've kept the music for the same for each of my streams. I really like that heartbeat sound effect. I think it's really good. And the way I made that is I'm on Canva. I've got a link for that in my description. I recently got what do they call it? I recently got premium as well, because I can't remember what I needed for premium for, but I did recently get premium. I think I wanted some stock footage for that Inside Number 9 video, that shot of the TV, which I originally used for Psychoville actually, so it would have been then. So here we are. So, first question from Alicia Alvarado. She may be watching now. I don't know. She's almost always on the stream. She's lovely. She's always asking questions on the. She's a big fan of the Psychoville streams. So, Alicia Alvarado says, "What inspired you to start your YouTube channel, and how did you come up with the content? How did you come up with the content you create?" I've wanted to do one for ages. I mean, I had the typical sort of Gen Z thing of watching YouTube when I was younger and then wanting to do that at some point. But when I started sort of writing stuff, that was I considered it whilst at uni, but then I did it later. So I did it. I started writing YouTube videos in I think 2020, but I may have started earlier because there was a project that I was thinking, I could promote this by making YouTube video essays on something that I was adapting, which I still haven't done. I should continue with that actually. It was good, but anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, it's just obviously primarily watching other creators and partially also having something to say myself. I think probably one of the biggest influences at the time is that I was watching a lot of Calvin Dyson videos. For those of you who don't know, Calvin Dyson is a fantastic YouTuber who makes videos about James Bond. And I'm a big fan of the James Bond films. I grew up with them. Obviously, this was during the pandemic when No Time to Die's release kept getting delayed. So I was getting excited for that. I was also watching any content like trailer reactions, that kind of thing, because I don't know if you guys are the same, but if I watch a trailer, I don't want to watch a trailer of something I'm definitely going to see, and James Bond, 100% I'm going to see the film because I've seen every single James Bond film. I'm not going to give up now. So yeah, I've seen every James Bond film, so I know I'm going to see it. But I was watching his content about the other films, and it was the first time I'd heard anyone talking critically about those films. Because my brother was a massive James Bond fan growing up, so I grew up around the James Bond films a lot. And I don't know if you guys ever remember the board game Seen It. It was there was a James Bond edition. Seen It was basically a board game about imagine Trivial Pursuit but with film facts, and also some of the questions involve using a DVD showing clips of the films. So actually I'll share the screen. So yeah, Calvin Dyson, I started watching his content, and so yeah, I'd always grown up with the James Bond films and grown up with like knowledge surrounding them, but I don't know, I don't really my critical opinions didn't go any further than Quantum is boring. Apologies to any Quantum fans, but yeah, I stand by that currently, but I haven't seen Quantum in a long time. So I don't know, my opinion still may change. So yeah, there's the game there. I think that's a slightly older edition than the one I had. This one here is the one I had. It looks like it had an expansion pack as well. That's cool. And I remember on the inside box, it had all around the edge when you took the lid off, and all around the edge it had the posters for all of the James Bond films, and that's how I remembered what order they were in. So yeah, my little brother and I got to the stage where we could play this game and it would be really close as to who would win. So yeah, anyway, yeah, Calvin Dyson, I would say definitely I was inspired by a lot of people, Lindsay Ellis and all that. But in terms of who what creators inspired me, it's Calvin Dyson. He inspired my first video essay. Don't know if anyone here has seen my first video essay. It's on For Your Eyes Only. It's inspired by something he said in a review. I basically expanded upon it. I'm not sure if I really added anything, but I did expand upon it. And he's not the first creator to have inspired a YouTube video. Elliot Roberts, who's a really fantastic creator. He's the guy who watched every Beatles movie, and then he also watched, like every Beatles biopic, and then he watched every. Well, not every, but he watched a bunch of films that were inspired by the Beatles. And one was he watched Sgt. Pepper and Across the Universe and discussed them in the same video. And I can't remember what he said because it was 2 years ago when he said it, but he said something along the lines of, I can't remember what exactly he said, but he said something about Across the Universe and Sgt. Pepper, of Sgt. Pepper trying to do the same thing as Across the Universe and Across the Universe being better, something like that. And yeah, I thought, okay, so why did this film succeed where the other one failed? And you may have seen recently I cut them into one video. The reason why is because that's how I originally wrote it back in 2020. I started writing, by the way, back in 2020. I think I might have started writing some things a little bit earlier, but then stuff I haven't used. But in 2020 is when I really got into writing, and there are some videos I wrote in 2020 that I have not finished yet, but I am planning to. I've written another Bedknobs and Broomsticks one. No one saw the first Bedknobs and Broomsticks one, but I've already wrote a second one. I think before I started the channel, I managed to write a version comparing the two cuts of Bedknobs and Broomstick of Bedknobs and Broomsticks purely from muscle memory. I had not seen the extended cut in a few years, but it's the version I grew up with. So when I watched the version on Disney Plus, I was like, no, what have they done? So I have written a video on that. But now I have found that cut, so I am just going. I need to get back to it, but I need to go through the process of going through each scene and seeing what things have changed, because there are some small details that I'd forgotten, but they're really very minor. Pretty much the majority of stuff I got that I was able to find. I mean, I was able to write down, and then I was also assisted a bit by there's a few clips of extra scenes on YouTube. But anyway, I'm waffling. So yeah, to go back to Alicia Alvarado's question, it's partially other creators, partially having something to say myself. How did I come up with the content I create? It's basically just what I'm interested in. In terms of reviews, sometimes I do. I use vidIQ as well, which is they're basically sort of analytics tools. They have some other tools as well, but primarily they're analytics tools. And you can search something on YouTube and see how well it does. And obviously, YouTube isn't just a search engine. And if you watch their YouTube channel, which I do recommend, I haven't seen them in a while, but they really seem to experiment and then share their findings. They don't just seem to be repeating the same stuff. They are people who do kind of try and find answers themselves. And obviously, there's a lot of shovel selling, and obviously I know that it's the channel's there to promote their product, but yeah, I don't see the point in getting the I mean, I don't see the point in getting the paying for vidIQ upgrades if you're a beginner. I think it's definitely something you can get later than that. I think because there's just a lot of free tools, and not all the tools are useful anymore. So definitely make sure you watch them and see what they recommend. Like, they have tools for tags. If you watch their YouTube channel, they're like, do not waste your time with tags. But they're still there just so you can learn about SEO. But anyway, so yeah, so I don't choose my videos based on that, but I'm not really doing that currently, but I have in the past prioritized which films I'm going to review based on how well they do in search scores. And by the way, I was originally only supposed to do video essays, but it was simply to pad out my schedule by making reviews, and then making video essays, alternating those video essays. So making video essays every other week and making reviews every other week. Obviously, that's not how it pans out. I'm putting out fewer video essays and more reviews, because obviously they are a lot easier to make, and I'm making longer and more detailed and more complex video essays. Obviously, some that have meant I've had to stop completely. I had to stop for like a month to get that Inside Number 9 one out. And it probably wasn't the sensible decision. I should have probably shelved it until the next year, but especially once it passed Halloween. But you know what? I am so glad I made that video. I'm just so happy that I got that video made, and the response from people who watched it has been really great. The video I put out to promote it as a trailer has got more views than the than the actual video. I mean, the title was Tomorrow, and that probably caught a lot of people's attention. And the frame that was, I've been creating thumbnails for 2 years, but that random frame that I chose to be the thumbnail for the trailer video for my Inside Number 9 video, I'm really happy with. It's somehow my best thumbnail. And of course, obviously, Tomorrow being a dramatic title and everything, and inciting curiosity and all that. But anyway, so yeah, that's so video essays is entirely what I feel about media I like, and sometimes about media I dislike. But after I went through, it was really difficult when I made the video essay on the Ringo and Harry Nilsson film Son of Dracula, and I was just like, I cannot do this to myself again, because just rewatching the film so I could write an accurate plot summary was absolute agony. So I'm not going to put myself through that again. So basically, I've just gone, for my mental health, I should do stuff about more positive things. And I actually threw away a video about AI. I got AI to write a bunch of when AI was, I mean, it's still a popular subject now, but a few months ago when it was a very, very hot topic, Um, I just I've got ChatGPT to write a bunch of sitcom episodes, and they are utter trash. I've posted a few on my Ko-fi page for members, but I don't have any members yet, so I haven't scheduled the rest of them yet. And oh, what was I gonna say? I've completely forgot what I was on about now. This happens to me. Let me think. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's why I don't but yeah, I was just feeling so down making this video. And I had some it's a shame because I felt a lot of the stuff in it was good. Obviously, I mean, it still is a hot topic, so if I could probably write it and get it made, and it would still be a good video. But at the same time, I wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't have the passion I felt for the Inside Number 9 video essay. I mean, partially that was a hindrance because I was so focused on getting it right. Um, and of course, add stuff like text. The editing software I use is Shortcut. I highly recommend it. It's open source. There's no paid upgrades or anything. It's basic. It does what I need to do. But the main issue I have with that is text. I've actually exported videos and the text has been in the wrong place. So I use Canva, which I mentioned before, for text. I use a green screen effect on the text, and oh my god, I cannot tell you how proud I was that I'd worked that out. I hadn't used chroma key before for anything. I was very happy to use it in that video. So yeah, for reviews, it doesn't matter because they're very short. But with something big, the passion has to be there. You know, this is at the end of the day, this is a hobby for me. I don't have anything against people who like look out for bad movie content and review it. You know, I watch stuff like Cynical Reviews and Saber Spark who do go for these weird bad films. Small creator I'd like to shout out is Soapy Bubbles Reviews. She makes great videos, often about B movie horror and that kind of thing. So she does look at sort of rubbish straight to video horror, and yeah, she's great. Soggy Balls Moto, thank you very much for joining us. Fascinated by how different niches handle their content, especially live streams. Question: do you think you will always be a faceless channel? That is a really interesting question. I'm not entirely sure. I think I'd have to be very big and very successful for me to do that. But because I like being faceless, I don't see how it would benefit me being faceless. And I think if so, I'd be like Saber Spark, in which I would still be faceless for the majority of my content. So my face would be out there, but I wouldn't be showing that during the videos because it's extra work. Being faceless, I don't have to worry about what I look like. I don't have to worry about lighting or camera quality. I don't have to worry about I mean, with scripted videos, you have to try and deliver the script with the enthusiasm with which you wrote it. And I would be worrying not only about how my voice sounds, but also how I look and my facial expressions. I mean, it's kind of like acting because you're sort of replicating how you would say it as if you were speaking it now instead of just reading it aloud. So yeah, I'm not going to rule it out entirely, but I'd need a really good reason, to be honest. I'd need a really, really good reason to show my face because it's. I am planning on getting an avatar at some point. I've been talking about doing it for ages. It's always been my plan to get an avatar at some point. Obviously, if any of you want to help contribute to me getting one, because obviously I want to hire an artist for that. I mean, I could do a stick man. I could. I don't think that would be very good. Obviously, I guess there's pit crew, but yeah, So yeah, if you want to contribute to that, I have a Ko-fi, and you can now give me super thanks and super chats and what have you on YouTube as well. So yeah, to answer your question, possibly not, but yeah, I'd need a really good reason, and I can only see that happening if my channel got much, much, much bigger. Just for there to be some kind of reason for me to do so. I don't see any other reason why I'd need to show my face. But yeah, thank you very much. And guys, check out Suki Balls Moto. He makes motorcycle content. He did try and send me something for my Inside Number 9 video, but I wasn't able to use the file, unfortunately. It wouldn't let me download it. But yeah, please go and check his channel out, guys. It's I don't watch it very much, but it's good stuff. And so yeah, going back to Alicia Alvarado's questions. Alicia. I'm guessing it's Alicia. I don't know why I said it like Sean Connery there. Anyway, how do you stay motivated to keep creating content, and what advice do you have for aspiring YouTubers who may be struggling to stay motivated? So, having a deadline certainly helps. I remember when I set myself a deadline when I first started out in late 2020. I went, okay. I was like, well, I have 5 fully written videos. I'll start making them. And then I did. And once I worked out how to get download footage and that kind of thing, I went, right. So at the end of the first Friday of 2021, I'm going to start posting videos, and I'm going to post them every week, more or less. I think I said with like 5 weeks off. I'd ended up taking far more than that for partially for things taking too long and partially for personal reasons. So yeah, there's a balance of staying of when it comes to discipline. It's like, it's not the end of the world if you miss an upload day. You shouldn't beat yourself up if you miss an upload day, but you should still aim to. And what I do is, if I don't finish a video by that Friday, I will wait until next Friday. I won't. There's only one time I've uploaded a video on a day that wasn't a Friday because I missed a deadline, which was across the universe. So yeah, and that gives me extra time to work on the next video. I remember when I posted on the YouTuber subreddit, and people were saying, "Oh no, you should just post them all now. You know, why are you waiting?" And I was like, "No, I need to pace myself. My content takes time." And presumably their content didn't take as much time. And it is quite labor intensive, the style of video I make. I know that if I wasn't to face this channel, I wouldn't have to worry as much about copyright or worry as much about editing. But I prefer it. I prefer it like this also because it's like a second language that I'm using while I'm editing. It's one of the reasons why I don't outsource my editing except for my Monkees reviews. Because I don't feel like I need to put too much control into those, and also because my style of editing is very labor intensive for this style of videos. So it's too much big an ask a film review. I've realized that now. I've had to learn the hard way. Only one of my film reviews has been edited by someone else, and that is that's that first Is that Whoever Slew Auntie Roo? I don't know if anyone saw that. Not a lot of people have seen it. It's a review I did of a horror film starring Shelley Winters and the boy from Oliver. It's a Christmas horror film. I think I shared it around Christmas. So yeah, that's my advice to keep motivated: is set yourself a deadline. Don't beat yourself up too much if you meet it, but still try and find that balance of self-discipline when it comes to creating. And once you start, then the content is its own reward. I'm very much of the attitude of I don't go into this expecting it to be a business. I expect it to be a hobby I could make money from someday. I've made a very small amount from Ko-fi donations so far. Thank you very much to everyone who's donated. But yeah, once that donation, it's like an Etsy shop, is how I see it. I can make money from it someday, but I should go into it expecting to make a business from it. I could make a business from it at some point, but I'm just doing it for the fun of it at the moment. And comments and views are just so rewarding. If a video underperforms, I'm concerned, and I can see what I can learn from it. I had big issues with the only video where I'm like, I think I had some kind of algorithm issue, was the Bedknobs and Broomsticks video. The comments were automatically turned off on that multiple times. That was not me. In fact, I'll check now in case it's been turned off again, because I had to go back and turn them back on manually, which obviously is very odd. Let me see. It should be in the settings. Yeah, they were turned off by YouTube. Yeah, comments are on. That's good. Yeah, they were turned off by YouTube twice. Which happens on content listed as made for kids, and obviously it is a video about a Disney film, but it didn't flag the video as being made for kids, so I have no idea what was going on there. So yeah, but most of the time, it's a video underperforms. I'm like, that's kind of disappointing, but I'm still happy with the video itself. Like, it doesn't matter how many views the Inside Number 9 video essay gets, I will always be proud of that. And I'm always going to be proud of all of my videos. The one I'm least proud of is the questions that I came up with myself that I asked. I don't know if anyone's seen that. It is bad. It is a bad video. It was my only video with under 100 views for ages. But all my videos get about 100 views within the first week. I mean, not in the first week, within the first 24 hours, all my videos are at 3 figures. And that's what I'm happy with. And I look at things in terms of figures rather than numbers, which helps. So I don't bother with promoting videos past 1,000 views because I'm happy with that. And I've got about 20 videos with over 1,000 views. That's long form videos, not shorts. And I'm really, really happy with that. I'm absolutely thrilled with that. So yeah, so in terms of shorts or sometimes even I don't even bother sharing it in my so yeah, I don't bother making shorts or making posts reminding people it exists. It's done fine. I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. But I'm happy. I'm just happy with what I put out. And then I've had some negative comments, but majority of them have been really positive about my videos. And yeah, it's been wonderful. So once you start creating, the fact that anyone sees my videos, I am so unbelievably happy. It's not about the scale, it's just about the fact that this many people or any people want to listen to what I say. I think that's a wonderful thing about the internet, is that people can, discuss their interests with other people who are interested in them as they are, and they don't necessarily come across those people in everyday life. And of course, with TV shows, with the amount of channels and platforms that we have to watch stuff now, that makes it far harder to find a fan of the same thing in real life. So thank you very much, Alicia Alvarado, for those lovely questions. Now we have Ash DHD. Another very good channel, by the way. I'd recommend checking your stuff out. And also, I don't know where Alicia Alvarado's art is, but check it out. Which YouTuber made you consider making videos? Oh, by the way, Ash DHD made a really good video on Temu. We're constantly swamped by ads for Temu. He actually bought stuff from there and to see how it went, and it was interesting. But yeah, really fantastic videos he makes. So which YouTuber made you consider making videos? Like I said, the main one around the time I started was Calvin Dyson. Also, like I said, with the whole I have to make stuff I'm interested about, I promised to do James Bond stuff, more James Bond stuff, and I haven't. And most of my old Twitter moots are James Bond moots because I started Twitter a month or two before I started YouTube, and it was, to promote my channel. But I was basically engaging in James Bond conversations. So that's mostly what I was talking about. And there were other James Bond YouTubers, like there's the Bond Experience, and there's plenty of other ones. But Calvin Dyson was the one I watched primarily. So yeah, he that's and like I said, Lindsay Ellis. I haven't seen Lindsay Ellis's new video. I saw that she's made a new YouTube video and it's about John Lennon. I don't know how I haven't seen it, but I haven't. So yeah, those are the ones that spring to mind as the ones that got me started. Saber Spark, again, I've been watching for a while, but he's been an inspiration in some ways, but I don't think in terms of my writing and the stuff I cover. Just, I mean, more his like I said, I hope to use an avatar in the future, so it would be like the way that he utilizes it the way he does. Who is the most underrated YouTuber in your mind? Oh, that is a difficult question. I've started, I don't know if any other creators are the same, but when I started being a small creator and discovering other smaller creators through Reddit, I've been getting more smaller creators in recommendations. I don't know if that's happened to anyone else, but it's happened to me. It's been great. So yeah, obviously, like I said, Ash DHD, Soapy Bubbles. I don't know if anyone remembers my collaboration that I did about Kate Bush at the Efteling. Exalots. She hasn't made any videos in a while, but I really like her videos. Her videos are very good. Let me think. Other small creators. I do have a group chat with other small creators on Reddit. I haven't used the group chat very much, but I do have one. Oh, Crit Pick Reviews, fantastic creator. I envy how frequently he's able to put out such good videos. So yeah. And obviously, if you've been watching this channel for a while, obviously I'm a fan of Headphones UK, because not just because I collaborate with him. Obviously, I think he does create some really good stuff. And let me have a look. Just trying to think of some other ones. So, Sack Attack Reviews is good. Kenny Sparks, he's a good reviewer. A lot of other channels are people who review current films, rather than a sort of channel like mine that does sort of throwback reviews or video essays. If you go to the More Like Me section, I haven't updated it in a really, really long time, I'm afraid. But pretty much everyone in there is in a group chat with me, and a couple of them I think are no longer making videos. But yeah, they're really good. I recommend checking them out. I really need to update it because I haven't updated it in absolutely ages. JA Reviews, another small reviewer, reviews Inside Number 9. There's another small Inside Number 9 reviewer. I can't remember the name. But yeah, there are too many channels to name anyway. But so those are the most underrated. Ooh. Yeah, I guess if I had to choose, I'd probably say Crit Pick. I think is going to go really far. Crit Pick Productions, I think, is really going to go far. I think he's got really good stuff. A lot of them I think are going to go really far, but yeah, he's a really good creator. And anyway, what movie is your guilty pleasure that you would never admit? That's difficult, because there are plenty of films that I like that didn't have a great critical or reception. I was but then again, I think that lowers my expectations when I watch the film. Around the World in 80 Days with Steve Coogan and Jackie Chan had really bad reviews, so I wasn't expecting to like it, because I do generally go towards the reviewer tomato score rather than the audience score. But yeah, I just enjoyed the film. It's not a perfect film. It's a bit messy. I am making a video on it someday. It's going to be a big one. So that's why again, it's the one I started in 2020, but I'm going to have to see more other things to compare it to and that kind of thing. So but anyway, I think that but it's such a fun film. It's a messy film. The director has pretty much only credits on Rotten Films, and it from the looks of those films, I can understand why. But this film just was a really fun, enjoyable film. And if you look at the critics who gave it a positive review, and they were just like, I don't know, I just couldn't stop smiling. And then there are films I liked, like I just saw a double bill last weekend on Channel 4 of In the Earth and A Field in England, which got really good critic scores and really poor audience scores because they're quite strange, artsy films, which obviously are the kind of films that put off ordinary audiences. Although it's interesting the fact that when a director is very, alternative and stylized, they're called pretentious, except when they use it in comedy, because I don't think Edgar Wright has ever been called pretentious. Maybe he has. Maybe I'm just ignorant. But yeah, he goes for very stylized, and it's but maybe that's why. Maybe people associate something being serious and stylized with someone taking themselves too seriously. But anyway, guilty pleasure is hard to describe, so it's probably going to be a film that I saw as a kid that I grew up with on VHS that I would really enjoy due to sort of muscle memory, so audio-visual muscle memory, and that's probably Bratz Rock Angels, which I did write a review of, but I didn't quite finish the review, so I haven't recorded it yet. Inspector Gadget, I probably enjoy that if I watched it again. Let me think. But in terms of a one that is a bad movie, but I enjoyed it all the way through, is Casino Royale 1967. Have you heard of Casino Royale 1967? It is a wild ride. So the reason why this film exists is because the rights were sold to television of Casino Royale. There was a TV film and like an anthology series that was made of it. So I'll just share my screen again. So the rights so it had been made on television. It was they made James Bond an American and called him Jimmy Bond because of course they did. And I said that very loudly. But the rights existed and they were owned by another studio when when the whole spy mania of James Bond came out, which of course led to this huge movement of the huge spy craze. By the way, that reminds me, I have got a book called Love and Let Die, which I haven't started reading yet. It's about the Beatles and James Bond, because Dr. No was released the same week as Love Me Do, or on the same day as Love Me Do, or something. So and they say very different things about British culture, and they're both icons of British culture. So really looking forward to reading that. But anyway, it's a parody film starring Peter Sellers and obviously Ursula Andress, who herself was in Dr. No. And they went, okay, we have the rights to Casino Royale. Let's make a parody. And interestingly, elements of the script are there that were there before they were considering making it a parody. There's multiple characters called James Bond. And at first you think, oh, this is making fun of the code name theory, or this is making fun of George Lazenby replacing Sean Connery. No, this happened before Sean Connery left James Bond. And so I think what it was is them finding a way of, when they were planning on making it a serious film, finding a way of making a James Bond film that was an official James Bond film, but explaining why the Bond wasn't being played by Connery. So they were like, I don't know, I think the different versions of him had him the real Bond dead or something. So yeah, Peter Sellers plays Evelyn Tremble, who is this gambler, a professional gambler who goes to win at Baccarat, whatever the card game is. And it's like that whole Armageddon question of, is it would it be easier to train a spy to play cards, or for a for a professional card player to be a spy? Which would be easier? But yeah, I was in a really bad mood when I watched this. But I decided to give it a try anyway because it was about to come off Amazon, because Amazon have been yo-yoing on whether or not they want anyone to actually see the Bond films. It's like, you own the films. Why are you taking them off Prime? There's no rights issue here. You own it. They just want people to pay for it, I'm guessing. But yeah, I watched Casino Royale. Peter Sellers walked out during production. So basically they had to sort of rework the film. So it came, I think some of the other scenes with other characters were originally made for the film, but it's a complete car crash of a film. But it is visually stunning. Like the budget, I think, was like the same as like an actual James Bond film budget, and you can see it in the sets. Oh my god. I don't know if I could get a good picture of any of the sets here, because they're mostly just pictures of the cast, but it is such a stunning film. And most of the jokes are not funny, but I was watching it with my dad. We were just so amused by the film. Somehow we were just kind of so amused by how insane this film was. A lot of the jokes flop, and it's just a really bad film in every sense of the word. It's not funny. Its plot is messy. It's an overcomplicated plot. And obviously that's partially because the lead actor walked out and they had to rewrite the film around it. But yeah, I definitely want to find out more about the production history, because it must have been totally insane. I think I had 4 directors or something as well. So yeah, it is a really bad film, but I had such a good time watching it, and it's like a film that would be critically, and I think it has a bad critical score and a bad audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it is kind of universally considered a terrible film, almost universally, because you can never consider film universally considered anything. No matter how bad a film is, there will always be people supporting it. I mean, even that Son of Dracula film, which is the worst film I've ever seen, I still have comments from people saying I liked it. And by the way, if you ever say, "Oh, I liked the film," I'm not like gonna argue with you. Some people kind of expect an argument, and I think that's a reflection on current discourse surrounding films, which I should probably write a video essay on it eventually, but yeah, I'm so chill about that. Like, if you like a film that I don't like, power to you. I'm happy for you. I'm not saying that you're wrong for not liking a film. I think you can only be wrong on an opinion about a film or TV show if it's based on inaccurate information. Like, I saw an Inside Number 9 review, and I can't really explain it without describing spoilers for the show, but they didn't like something, and I'm like, you missed a plot twist there. That will be why. And so something like that, I'm like, okay, I can argue that point. But Alicia Alvarado, hello. We've already done your questions, I'm afraid, but yeah, thank you so much for your lovely questions. I thought I'd decide to start on them because they were really good, sort of broad questions. So yeah, thank you very much, AshDHD, for those questions. Once again, do check him out. Scorpio Dog, another very good channel. Hasn't produced much, but it is a very good channel. Headphones says hi, Alicia. Hi, George. Didn't know you were here. So Scorpio Dog, who is your favorite Doctor Who companion and why? Very good question. It's a complicated one because I started watching halfway through series 3, which is the Martha series, and then hello, Judge. And then the only episodes I've seen more than once, apart from those, were the earlier episodes of her series. So, the beginning of the series, due to Lazarus Experiment, is when they were releasing DVDs after every 3 stories. So it was about half the series because we had the first 2 DVDs, and so I do have a soft spot for Martha, but I think I don't think there's ever been a companion I really actively disliked. Obviously, I started watching after Rose left, so there was all this hysteria over Rose, and obviously I was like, okay, I don't really know. I know who she is, but I don't really know why there's this much fuss about her. I did see some episodes with her. The first 2 episodes I saw of Doctor Who were Love and Monsters and Fear Her. I am not joking. Probably the 2 most disliked episodes, which I remember enjoying them, but I was very young. I don't know if I'd have the same opinion now, but uh I've heard people defend them. I don't know what I'd think. Obviously, Rose isn't in Love and Monsters a lot, but I'm interested in watching them and seeing and forming my own opinion on them. So yeah, I haven't seen any Doctor Who more than once apart from those Martha episodes. And I watched saw a quote from Peter Capaldi. I know I watched an interview with Peter Capaldi recently where he said, I haven't. The show came out when I was 6, and I've watched it ever since. But I don't rewatch episodes because because they were there when they came out, and they were only ever supposed to come out once. And I want them to live as those memories in my head. I think that's a really wonderful way of looking at it. I think I will still rewatch Doctor Who. I am planning on. My boyfriend hasn't seen it, so I'm planning on rewatching it from Christopher Eccleston series from the reboot in 2005 onwards. And because I have seen some, I did go back and see later on. My brother had got the first 3 on DVD, but I wasn't actively watching them. I was just in the room while he was watching them, kind of thing. Because I hadn't seen Doctor Who. I think I'd stopped watching Doctor Who by then. I stopped at some point during Peter Capaldi, but then again, I wasn't watching them every week anymore. So it was harder to catch up with them. And then, of course, at some point they changed it so iPlayer. You have to get a TV license to watch iPlayer now. Legally, you can't watch television live in the UK unless you pay the BBC, which is how they're able to operate without adverts. You just can't go, well, I'll just watch ITV then. No, you can't watch any live television. So I wasn't able to watch it live or watch it on their streaming service. And my family stopped paying a TV license before it was cool. We did away with live television because we just ended up watching stuff on catch up anyway. I feel like I'm the only one who likes Love and Monsters. Yeah, I do think there are some other people who like it. I think I've seen it recently on Twitter. I've been seeing more Doctor Who Twitter, and there were people who like Love and Monsters on there. I think it's generally considered, from what I can see, it's considered the weaker of the Russell T Davies series. Series 2, but yeah, I remember it, and I remember it being the Blue Peter competition, and but I can remember, it stayed in my memory, that episode, it would do. It really stayed in my memory. But yeah, watching a Doctor Who episode that the Doctor is hardly in is a weird introduction to the show. But the concept of it, I think, is really interesting. What about the lives of the people left behind by all this stuff who don't go on all these wonderful adventures? What about the people left behind? I think that's a really interesting thing that the new series, I think, has done that quite a bit in one way or another. So my favorite is probably Donna. It devastated me when she left the show. It I think I would start to tear up if I think about it for too long, but it just absolutely devastated me as a small. I wasn't a small child. I was a child. I was probably 10 or 11. I'm trying to work out. It's 2009, I think. So I would have been 11. But it tore my heart out when she left. And it was just, I think it's because she and the Doctor had really good friendship chemistry. That, I mean, it's sort of indescribable how good their friendship chemistry is, and I think it's something that's not really discussed enough. And I mean, friendship chemistry in general, not them, because it's discussed a lot. But yeah, the sort of the friendship chemistry is amazing between the two, and I love it. So yeah, it really devastated me when she left. So I'm still probably gonna say Donna. I've never disliked a companion. So yeah, but yeah, she's probably still my favorite. And I don't want to spoil Doctor Who for anyone who somehow still hasn't seen it, but I think if the conclusion to the Beep the Meep was the Star Beast episode was different, if it went in the direction it was going to go originally, I think that would have been a really good conclusion to her story. They did come up with a reason why it didn't happen, but it felt like a bit of a cop out. They did come up with a good reason why, but it felt like a bit of a cop out. It did feel like erasure. Like like I said, I wasn't there when Rose left the show, but when she got the Metacrisis Doctor at the end of whatever that big crossover over episode was, it was like, okay, it's a continuation of her story and it's an end to her story and it makes it happier, but it's still a sad ending because it's not the Doctor that gets Rose. Rose is now happier because she has a version of the Doctor to live the rest of her life with. But the Doctor himself now still doesn't have Rose. So there was still some tragedy in there. It just felt like everything was being, in the anniversary specials, everything was done up in a nice little bow for 14. It was, I feel bad for saying it was too nice. But maybe I'm too harsh on it. But I don't know. I feel like I'll probably cover it at some point. But yeah, I think I'll make a giant video essay about Doctor Who, and I'll sob throughout. I think that is what what I will do at some point in the future, in the distant future. Anya, if you could place any characters from League of Gentlemen into any episode of Inside Number 9, who would you choose for which episode and why? Oh, that is a really difficult one. I should have thought about more of these questions before I answered them. I didn't put enough thought into. I really should have put more time into thinking about these beforehand. Because I honestly, because I haven't seen any episodes of Inside Number 9 more than once, except for when some of them I've shown other people. So there's some I've seen twice, but the one I've seen the most is Deadline. And if you've seen Deadline, you know that you can't replace the characters in that. Or actually, maybe Ollie Plimsolls. If Ollie Plimsolls was in Deadline, maybe you could replace one of them with Ollie Plimsolls. I don't know. But that's the only one I can think of that. But yeah, someone came up with a good one. Lou said she put Pauline in Cold Comfort to see how she would put George in his place. I think Pauline could be George. I know, Anya, if you're watching, I'm sorry. This is more Pauline slander. But but yeah, I think she probably would be. Well, there are crueler characters than Pauline. She's not the cruelest. That's why she's the most interesting. Or maybe it'd be the Doctor guy. Now at last, I've won the game. So yeah, I'll have a think some more. I mean, it feels like they're already characters from in A Quiet Night In. The burglars from A Quiet Night In, I feel, are let me get the pictures up. They feel like Lizgo and Barry in I'll just share the screen again. Yeah, they feel like if you've seen series 3 of League of Gentlemen and you've seen the sketches with the debt collectors. Basically, there's a sketch in series 3 of League of Gentlemen where there's this big bumbling debt collector, and then there's his boss who's this tough gangster type who gets him to do a role play on how to collect money. It's in the League of Gentlemen panto as well. But anyway, these characters, it's a silent episode of Quiet Night In. But if these characters could talk, I think they would talk like Barry and Lizgo. That's who they are in my mind. I sort of headcanon them as the same characters. A rare, humble Twitter moment. I'm not sure what you're referencing there. Is it because I'm streaming on Twitter and I'm being humble? By the way, check out his channel. He does he mainly does album reviews. He's just reviewed all of Kiss's albums. I watched some of his album reviews for Alice Cooper albums. He also reviewed every Alice Cooper album, which, if you're familiar with the extent of Alice Cooper's discography, you know that's quite an undertaking. But he's also made some really good little video essays. He made really good ones on Pirates of the Caribbean, and some quite short ones on Star Wars, but they're really good. So yeah, do check out his channel. So anyway, that's all I could think of with that inside number 9 question. But yeah, actually, Quiet Night In. If you there's an interview with Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton between series 1 and 2 of Psychoville, and before the Halloween special. I've used clips of it before. It's on YouTube. It's in like 5 parts because, of course, it's back when YouTube videos could only be 15 minutes, and basically they were asked if they would do something experimental like the episode they did in one take, or made to look like one take. And they said we came up with an episode that was a burglary, and we didn't use it because we didn't want it to be too gimmicky, and work doing like a gimmick episode for the second series felt a bit too gimmicky, so we didn't do it. But sounds like a Quiet Night In, doesn't it? So I wonder which characters it would have been. I mean, if I had to guess, obviously there's the last one was about David and Maureen, but I'm not sure how that would have fitted into the plot, and how much of it got in. I imagine it was just kind of at the ideas stage, rather than anything later than that. But yeah, so it's interesting to think about. I'm doing well in terms of people on live. I don't usually do this well, and usually have more places to promote. So thank you very much, guys. I'm very happy with that. So hello, Crane Reviews. Anyway, back to the questions. If you wanted to make a Muppet version of League of Gentlemen and Psychoville, who would you keep human? Oh, that is it's interesting because, of course, remember in Muppets versions of things, pretty much all of the Muppet characters are existing Muppet characters that they've, put into the roles of different characters. So, on one hand, I think Miss Piggy could be Judy, but on the other hand, the couple's dynamic between Kermit and Miss Piggy reminds me of Alvin and Sonny. So no, who you keep human is the more of the thing that people are saying when it comes to these Muppet conversations. But which Muppets would be which characters, I think, is more interesting to me. And which character? I thought of one for Sam the Eagle. I can't remember who I thought of for Sam the Eagle. It wasn't Ross. Let me think. Who was Sam the Eagle? Probably Harvey Denton. I can't remember, but yeah, probably Sam the Eagle as Harvey Denton. Obviously Dr. Kermit, because we do not use the F word in this house. And then let me think. Psychoville. Dean Tavalouris will probably be like Gonzo or something. In League. But yeah, do you can't come up with your suggestions in the comments if you have any ideas. Psychoville again, and maybe Gonzo. But yeah, I haven't seen honestly, I haven't seen much of the Muppets. I'm a really big fan of the Muppets Christmas Carol. I watch it pretty much every year. I've been meaning to watch Muppets Treasure Island because if you've seen my channel for a while, I'm a big Tim Curry fan. Well, not necessarily a big Tim Curry fan, but I'll watch something because he's in it because I know that's something I will enjoy in the film. But so I'm planning. I haven't seen Muppets Treasure Island, but let me. So yeah, who I'd keep human is a difficult one. I think like Benjamin is because it's often like the kind of straight man kind of character. There's often like a straight man character at least who's human, and I think Benjamin would be that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Muppet Show, to my surprise. I've seen bits of the show, and I grew up with the best of compilation on VHS as a kid. I didn't even know about celebrity guests. I didn't know the celebrity guests were a thing on the Muppets because I hadn't seen any on that compilation video. But yeah, maybe I'll definitely get around to watching the Alice Cooper episode because I've been planning on watching it. But yeah, tried watching the Star Wars one because my boyfriend likes Star Wars, and yeah, couldn't really get into it. Yes, the Muppet. I don't know. I said it like a pirate. The Muppets Christmas Carol is great. Yeah, absolutely brilliant film. Obviously brilliant. I think they've reinstated the deleted scene on Disney Plus now. That was on the VHS version. That was cut from the theatrical cut. Okay, I think this was when I put on Twitter that I didn't feel like I had enough questions yet. So Ash, another actually great channel. Recommend Ash's channel. Is it Ash Tunes? I can't remember the name of the channel, but his channel is really good. I'll share it at some point. He's Irish guy who reviews cartoons, makes videos about the Beano. Really, really good stuff. Really recommend his stuff. Focuses on animation a lot. Would you rather fight a single chicken the size of a man or 1,000 men the size of chickens? I think it'll be 1,000 men the size of chickens. Chickens, size of a man, gonna have a great big sharp beak. What's the little tiny men gonna do? Bite me? That'll be a pain, but it won't kill me. So yeah, I'm gonna take my chances with 1,000 men the size of chickens. Which Beatle would have been the best Bond? Of course, Ringo married a Bond girl. Well, of course, in the films, George has all the deadpan jokes. So I guess George, he was the worst actor out of all of them, though. It would be a bit of a George Lazenby performance. Bless him, George. But so, which Monkee the best Doctor Who? Not gonna lie, this is a really interesting question. I know it's a silly joke question. Actually, so interesting, you guys. Because okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'll get a picture of them up. The Monkees, I've covered them a lot because they were a TV show about a band, and the band somehow became real as well. It's a whole story. I've made a video on it. And let's get a good picture of the 4 of them. I want to get a 67 picture of them because their clothes in 66 weren't as nice. So basically, they were like a kids show about a band. They were kind of the first of the kids shows about bands, and they were created for the show. And it was created as a marketing ploy, but the show did end up being actually pretty good. And the music ended up being pretty good. So it's a fascinating, unique story. I've made a video on it. So anyway, out of the 4 of them, 1 of them is English. Ironically, I think he'd be the least suitable to play the Doctor. It's this little short guy here. He was training to be a jockey, which is why he was absolutely tiny. He was I think he was 5'3" with boots on, boots that had lifts and Cuban heels on them. So it's not just his height. It was he's the least doctory out of he's the least absurd. I mean, a lot of people consider the Doctor to be very autism coded. Peter Tork was autistic. He was diagnosed with Asperger's later in life, which sort of I think in the early 2000s, Asperger's is now considered part of the autism spectrum, and Asperger's is no longer an official diagnosis. So yeah, this blonde guy here, I think he was sort of well-read and smart and very kind. So on one hand, I can imagine him being the Doctor, as well as kind of goofy. So there's some doctory elements there. Mike, he was sort of quite serious, but also had this quite absurd offbeat humor. So he would have been good. Mickey, like, is sort of the zany one. And also really into science. He has a degree in physics from Open University. He was studying engineering at the University of California when he got cast. He was still at university when he did the pilot, because of course, you know, he was he had been a child star, but he had a TV show with his little boy. But you know, pilots get filmed and most of them don't get made into a series, so he was still at uni. So yeah, that's the reasons why I think they would be Doctor Who. I cannot picture Davy as the Doctor ever. I can imagine him being a companion. He'd put up a fight. The Doctor would have to constantly talk him out of fighting with people. That's a crossover I'd like to see. Crane said, "Oh God, what happened to Doctor Who is just criminal." I disagree. I'm not a fan of Ncuti Gatwa. I think because he's I as an actor, oh my God, the man is charisma incarnate. Oh my God. But you know, I think there's this, we don't get the after the regeneration. It's just like he comes out the proverbial womb as a therapist, and I love the I think what really helps me bond with the Doctor is that thing of, who am I? That little quirky existential crisis where they're not quite with it yet, and which I do love about the show. So yeah, like I said, I had it earlier. I had issues with the anniversary specials with the ending of 14 and the ending of Donna. It was I really enjoyed it at the time, and then I went on Twitter and people started raising issues with it. I was like, yeah, I recognize all these issues. I did feel a little bit, but it's like a No Time to Die. The emotion carried me through at the time of watching. You should learn to say less. Yes, this is a problem. This is such a big problem. I'm really terrible at that. I just did it then, but I said instead of not that easy, especially when you answer live and talk for an hour straight. Yeah, thank you, but I mean, I am aware it is something I do too much. That's why I do so few unscripted videos. Partially because I have to edit all those out. I mean, that's I interviewed that guy who was the former head of BBC Online Comedy in November, and I've barely scratched the surface of editing it. I have started, but if I just edited that and edited nothing else, it would be ages before I posted another video, and I can't really do that. But yeah, I'm gonna punch myself for doing it now. So yeah, it's difficult, and I don't like it about myself. But I do unscripted videos. Like I said, if you get a Ko-fi membership, I don't have membership tiers yet. I'm planning on working up to that, and there's a bit more of a interest. The power of AI cuts the ums and ers. There is something, I think it's called Gling or something, that you can get that does that. I haven't got it yet. I considered it when I did consider doing editing as a sort of freelance work. But my other work has picked up, so I no longer have the time for that outside of doing my own channel. And also, you have to do a lot of free work. It's a shame. It's the way it works. You have to do a lot of free work in order to start getting paid work. Because you need to build up a portfolio, in order for people to start paying you. And whilst obviously I do have my own work on my channel, I feel like it's not enough because I only know how to edit this one specific type of video, which is B-roll only. So I wouldn't be able to do things to the standard that people expect with other types of content. I've never seen a Doctor Who episode. Sorry, but I found out yesterday that Peter Cushing played the Doctor in a few movies. I would never have guessed. Yes, they aren't canon. I'm not exactly sure how those came about. I remember seeing part of it on TV once. Bernard Cribbins is in both. He wasn't originally supposed to be Donna's grandfather. He was originally just supposed to appear in that Christmas special he was in. But the actor who had played Donna's father in Christmas. It's not Christmas Invasion. In the first episode, the wedding episode, the guy who played her dad was seriously ill. So after the first episode of his scenes, they were just like, "Yeah, you're not very well, are you? We'll write you out the show." And he did die during production, I think. But yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how it came about. But yeah, Peter Cushing did play the Doctor. This was very soon. It was sort of in the midst of sort of Dalek mania in the UK. I'm guessing it was to introduce the show to the United States. But yeah, it's not canon to the show in any way. Do feature the Daleks, who of course still are the most popular villains. Okay, these are all color pictures. I seem to remember it being in black and white. I can't remember if it was or not. So I remember. I know the girl playing his granddaughter was an actual child. I'm not even sure how young the actress playing Susan Foreman was, but I don't think she certainly wasn't that young. I can't remember. Don't know if she was supposed to be a teenager. I don't know if she's played by an actual teenager or an adult. But yeah, I think I've only seen Peter Cushing in Star Wars. I should correct that, really. I think I've seen one or two interviews from him. He sounds like a fascinating guy. I think it was him who said that he went and watched Brain Surgery when he played Dr. Frankenstein in preparation, because he said if at least one person watching the film is sort of taken out of it, taken out of the film by me what I'm doing not looking accurate, then I'd feel bad. And I don't think that's an attitude every actor has to have towards their craft, but I think it's I do think it's a good attitude to have, certainly. You should really try Doctor Who, the new Gen 2005. The first new Doctor changes fast, and it feels very different after. Yeah, that's a good recommendation. That's what I've seen. A lot easier to get into than the 60s to 80s. Not all of the old ones even got saved. Indeed, although I think thankfully it's just a couple of. I mean, I'd be wrong. I think it's just a few Patrick Troughton episodes that are missing. I think most of them have been rediscovered now. Actually, no. I know that there are some First Doctor ones that are missing, aren't there? I'm not into classic Who. I've mostly just seen clip compilations, and that's mainly just because when I was younger and into Doctor Who, I didn't have access to all those episodes. I had access to YouTube, and it was mostly, it's mainly clips of the post regeneration stuff. Shoes. But yeah, my again, it's mainly because my brother was with like full they're like at least 4 episodes, the other stories. So and so I've seen them, but I've seen them whilst my brother was watching them, and obviously they are a lot slower paced, so you have to be really focusing on them. I saw the one where Sarah Jane's face falls off. I remember that. Hi George, it's been a pleasure working with you too. Yeah, we definitely will. We've got Psychoville series 2 coming up, so yeah, we definitely will. Thank you, George. So yeah, back to what were we talking about? So yes, I'd explained which Monkee would be the best Doctor Who. Which show was better, the Monkees or S Club 7? I haven't seen S Club 7 since it came out. I'm gonna go out on the limb and say the Monkees. Because I don't know, it was kind of a corporate creation, but it was the first time it was done, and it was the fact that they then took over and made it something their own that makes it so fascinating and so special. And the fact that, the guy who directed that one of the 2 guys who created the Monkees went on to direct Easy Rider, and it that gives you an indication of that there's something a bit different about the Monkees. I think that's what makes it so special. And attempts to duplicate that formula. I'm gonna go look at the new Monkees at some point, which is they tried to make a new Monkees TV series in the 80s. It flopped really hard. I haven't seen the episodes yet because I'm like, I need to watch it when I'm watching. I need to watch it for a video. I need to suffer through them for a video. But yeah, go back to S Club 7. I haven't seen S Club 7 since it came out. I remember that song. Don't stop moving. Can you feel the music? My voice doesn't sound better when I haven't been talking for an hour. It doesn't sound much better, but most interesting question is the last one. How would America remake Inside Number 9? It was announced either a year ago or 2 years ago by Chortle, which is a news site for it's a news site for comedy news. That there's going to be an American remake. There hasn't been anything from it since. So yeah, May 2022. It's been nearly 2 years since that was announced. Plenty of shows that happens too. They go, oh, we're planning on making a remake, and it never materializes to a pilot. And even then, things often get past the pilot stage. Can't remember the name of the channel, unfortunately, but there's a fantastic channel that looked at the unaired pilot of Only Fools and Horses that's just come out. It's just been leaked. It came out. It was made about 10 years ago. And the unaired pilot of Spaced. Go check out the channel. Really, really good channel. And then, but I would like to make a video on it. I would definitely like to make a video on it because I think a big part of Inside Number 9, of what makes Inside Number 9 so special, is the fact that Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton are in every episode and act in every episode. Obviously, there's a couple of exceptions to the acting one, but I think it's really interesting to go into the differences between British and American TV because apart from a few shows like our soap operas and Doctor Who, we don't have writers' rooms. We have a whole series that will be written by one writer or a pair of writers writing together. We don't have a writer's room where it's like a committee coming together to create something. And not that that's necessarily a bad way of doing it, but if you look at a lot of British TV, there is for better or worse, the quality across the series is consistent. And that is because it is the same people writing it. There's something like Happy Valley. I don't know what it'd be like if that was written by a room of writers. Maybe there'd be dud episodes that weren't as good, rather than just this continuously fantastic show. So yeah, a lot of that. I think it would be interesting to see how other writers approach the concept of Inside Number 9, but you would lose the wonder. You'd lose the wonder of how can these two guys constantly write stuff this good and constantly act in every episode as different characters. That's the thing that's that's the magic of Inside Number 9. As well as just the concept. I included this question even though I don't think I'll be able to answer it, because make a League character. Who are they played by and what are they like? I can't think of one. I I like the universe of Royston Vasey as it is. I don't think I would add to it. I mean, if I wrote a story set in Royston Vasey, then I'd probably end up writing something about. I'd probably end up writing someone in for some reason, but yeah, I don't think I could come up with one. To fulfill a function, I couldn't come up with like a proper character. I just have to create a character for purpose to interact with another character. But like they did the series 3, in series 3, you'll notice a lot of the small background characters, like Mrs. Beasley. Mrs. Beasley was just a straight woman character for a sketch they did, and they thought, well, let's bring her back and make her a straight woman character for another sketch. And it's like keeping this, and in order and by doing that, they sort of create this little universe of Royston Vasey, and that's what I like. I like Royston Vasey being its own little universe. So yeah, I don't want to tamper with Royston Vasey. I like Royston Vasey, and it's wonderful characters. So I've got 5 of you watching on stream right now. So, that's all the questions I have so far. So if you have a question, type it now or forever hold your peace. While you do that, if you do indeed want to do that, I'm just going to talk about what I have planned. I've got a big Beatles themed project coming up that's going to be more than one video. But before that, I don't want to do that until, and that's nearly completely written, but I don't want to start that until I finished editing my John Ed video. Because it is hard, partially because I don't want to listen to myself go and listen to how awkward I am, and I'm so much more eloquent when I'm writing than when I'm talking. That's why I do write my videos the way I do. But actually, like I said, thank you so much for all those wonderful questions you guys came up with. They're really, really wonderful. But yeah, I've nearly finished. I kind of edited my last video as I was editing the current video. Inside Number 9 fans, there's Reece Shearsmith for like a few seconds, because I wrote and recorded that review in March. It's in the same session that I recorded Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. So that would have been March, possibly February, but probably March. So obviously a long time ago. I did cut a couple of lines because I wasn't sure if I'd have the same opinion or I'd listen again. I'm like, oh, that's a bit cringe. So that's why it was a tad shorter than usual, but not by much. It wasn't a very long review. I tried to write them so that they're at least 1,000 words, because that seems like a sufficient amount to say. I feel like I did have an insufficient amount to say. So, but anyway, I edited and reviewed I edited both the next video and the last video kind of simultaneously. I did a lot of stop and starting with the Burke and Hare one, because another project would come up, be it the Monkees project or the Psychoville project or the Inside Number 9 video essay. So it was fully recorded, and the audio was completely edited, I think. But I just kept pushing that back. And then and it was a difficult one because there's pretty much just there were a few clips that I could have downloaded, but I pretty much just stuck to the trailer footage, but I don't think it's done too bad. But anyway, I'm a really that's a bit cringe. I don't know if you've ever had the same thing, or if you listen back and you're like, oh, that joke's a terrible idea. That happens to me. They don't always work, but I think with my advice is if anyone does want my advice with comedy in this style of videos, I remember my brother first reading one of my videos before I started, and I was like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "But you're really funny, though. Why isn't it funny?" It's like, I'm not making this to be funny. I'm just giving my opinion. But yeah, I do try to be entertaining. I think that the key is to keep it as short as possible, because if a joke flops, then you've moved on. Because people aren't there to listen to you be funny. At least not with my style of review. There's some styles of reviews, obviously. Yeah, that's the purpose of the review. Yeah, he says absolutely. So but anyway, so my next review, I posted a photo. Let me go to my community tab. I need to post on there more. I think Video Q say they recommend posting on there every day, which I do think is a good idea, to be honest. I haven't posted it on my community tab. I must have just posted it on my Twitter then. I've realised I can either be not on Twitter at all or spend way too much time on it. There is nothing in between. I see I'm live on Twitter now, of course. It's very weird. I've never done that before. Like I said, guys, if any of you come up with any questions, that would be great. Don't know if I'll be able to find it. But yeah, I did post a sneak peek of part of the video as a joke. Yeah, here it is. Finally, I can edit a video without Reese Shearsmith. Wait, what? There he is again. So if you recognize him from that's not what it is. I'm not reviewing that thing. I'm reviewing something that came out before that has the same people in it. So I just needed footage from that show. But yeah, it was ironic considering obviously the last one was about something he's in, and the obviously the video I did of him was Halloween. But I might be doing, like I said, I watched a double bill of A Field in England and In the Earth. I've started writing a review of that as a double bill. I think I might release that before my big Beatles project. I'm not sure. It depends how I'm doing with editing this video. It depends on how well I edit the John Ed video. Because like I said, it's going to take a lot of effort. Because I want to put B-roll in between. I want to cut out me being awkward and waffling, and just make it a bit neater. You know what I mean? I wanted to I don't want to have as many as my live streams. I want it to be far more watchable. But I am so grateful for the guy I mean, he's like the head of development at a TV production company, and I am so grateful he took an hour of his time to talk to me about this project he did 10 years ago. Well, over 10 years ago now. What a fantastic guy. Hats off to him. That is just really, really kind of him. And yeah, that's partially. I do kind of feel bad that I haven't got this out earlier, so I need to really crack on with that. But So yeah, so like I said, 1 or 2 reviews, and then my then the John Ed video. I will not that will be the I will release that, and then I'll start the Beatles project. I do not want to do it earlier than the Beatles project, because I mean, I don't want to do it later than the Beatles project. I don't want to put it off any more than I already have. I'm just it's quite daunting, but I'm just going to crack on with it, and I'm just going to crack on with uh then I can get the Beatles stuff done. And then after that, I've got a Psychoville live stream project that we're going to do. If you've seen series 1, it's just going to be that, but with series 2. In terms of other live stream projects, I've got a collaboration I'm planning on doing with another channel. They haven't announced it yet, so I won't. But I'm very, very excited for that. I've got stuff going on in my personal life that will delay stuff that I do. But this channel really working on this channel is really what has kept me going. So I can't abandon it completely. There may be fewer uploads, but I'm not going to abandon it. So if I don't post for a while, I haven't gone anywhere. I'm just working hard on the channel. I'm just sometimes I have to remind myself that there are other things that are more important that I physically need to do. But yeah. Yeah, like I said it's earlier, it's its own reward. That's the motivation. It's its own reward. And also I'm thinking of doing a podcast about League of Gentlemen. Again, I say podcast, it'll be live streams the way I've been doing them. So possibly with other creators, possibly just with other League of Gentlemen fans, because there's so many fun discussions to be had about the show. It's such a fascinating show. It's so fun to discuss the characters at length. So yeah, do let me know if you want to see that. And like I said, you can donate to me through super chats, super thanks, or just by going to the Ko-fi link in my description. That's for one-time donation. Oh, Battery Shear Smith, by God, he's everywhere. Yes, I started writing a video in 2020 about a show that he's in. And I was just like, and it's a show he's doing voiceover for, which probably gives it away which show it is. But I was just like, how? Oh shit, Burke and Hare. He's in Burke and Hare. I watched and reviewed Burke and Hare before I knew who he was. I remember seeing him in Car Share and him being just the funniest thing. Like, oh my God, this guy is incredible. How have I never seen him in anything? But I'd already seen him I'd already seen him in Spaced. So yeah, he's always in work, which is which if you've ever known anyone who's done any work as an actor, then you know that that's the main thing you need to be worried about is getting work. And you can see how well respected he is as an actor and as a writer by the fact that he is always working. And same for Steve Pemberton. He is always working. And Mark Gatiss is always working because he is always doing something to do with Doctor Who. He does do other things, but I've watched his Big Finish out of context videos, and I'm just like, oh my God, how much more Doctor Who can he do? Anyway, I see none of you guys have come up with any more questions, so I will I'll head off. But this has been fun. This has gone much better than that unscripted Q&A video I did back in 2021 for my that was actually for 100 subscribers. Don't forget to like if you didn't. Thank you very much, Crane. Thank you very much, Crane Reviews. Thank you very much, guys. It's lovely answering your questions. And yeah, see you guys soon. Bye bye.